What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Uncensored Critic podcast. Thank you so much for joining me again for another episode. Much love to you all, to your families, to your mothers, etc. So, welcome back to another episode, and we have a great one for you today. A musical theatre aficionado in Mr. Alex Gage. Alex is yet another member of the GSA family. This is going to be like the GSA podcast at some point. So everyone I have on is from GSA. Alex is a pianist, a writer, and performer. Some of his credits include My Fair Lady, in the choir at the Oliviers in 2016, Guys and Dolls, Chicago, The Punchline, a short film, Gifted, a short film, and Scam Me, a short film. And also his own work, Dead, a new musical, which he directed and wrote himself, which is on at GSA as part of Alex Gage Productions. And he is fresh from his recent tour on the Norwegian Cruise Lines as Angel in the smash hit musical Kinky Boots. And that is just a small sample of the work Alex has done since he graduated the Guildford School of Acting in 2017. So, Alex, how are you, mate?
I'm all right. Thank you for that intro.
No,
Reminded me of my own spotlight. I was just like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
but no, I remember saying to you before we came on, it was like I was going through it and I was thinking, oh my God, I can't. I mean, if I read out his whole CV, I'm going to be here all day.
Right.
It's mad. But that's just like it literally is. I'm not sugarcoating it. It's a small sample of all the work you've done. I mean, it must be quite proud of because you've been out of drama school now for is it now six years?
I graduated in 2017, so yeah, 6 years.
6 years, yeah. How's it been
Nearly.
so far?
It's been all right. It's been challenging.
Yeah.
Uh,
Tell me about it.
yeah. No, yeah, it was a tricky start actually because it took a long time it took a lot of auditioning at the start and getting a lot of rejections.
Mm.
And being dropped by an agent at one point and then getting a new agent, at which point
Wow.
then I was able to get my first job um out of drama school, that is, which was Kinky Boots, which I ended up doing twice, and it was amazing.
Fantastic. Well, that's definitely something we're going to come on to today. And what's like your musical theatre training, your time at drama school, and what's it been like since then? I'm sure we'll go into a lot more detail. But to begin at the beginning and start a question for everyone, where did it all start for you, man? Where did the love of musicals, performing, writing, directing, where did it all start? Where did it come from?
Oh God. Ever since I can remember, really. It was funny. I have a baby book. Do you have a baby book? Like where they
A
wrote
baby.
like, yeah, where
Yeah.
they wrote down like how much you weighed and like all the kind of like fun little details of when you were
Yeah.
born.
Um,
Um,
I think I did. It's in a drawer somewhere. Maybe hopefully I've burnt it or something.
right.
So I've got
Yeah, I think mine's actually got a lock of my hair in it, which is
Oh,
kind of
really?
creepy. But yeah, the first haircut or something like that. I feel like it's taped in there.
Yeah.
But in the book, it obviously I was a baby when my parents filled it out, but it said, what do you think he will be when he's older? And it said on the stage.
Oh,
So
wow.
I guess it's always been in me since I came out of the womb. Um, but I remember going to classes at 7 years old. Oh, and we always had a piano as well in the house. And I have an older brother and an older sister,
Mm,
who they both learned before me, obviously. And then so my dad plays the guitar, and it was just a very musical household anyway. So
yeah.
it was kind of just ingrained into me.
Mm,
But yeah, started going to classes at 7. Um, Went to college for it, did a BTEC, and then yeah, auditioned for drama school and went there. Writing, I guess I've always been fond of writing, really, especially in school. Writing stories and stuff was always really fun for me.
mm,
But but doing it seriously, I guess I started writing songs. Oh yeah, I started writing songs in high school, at the end of high school. And then that came through, and then script writing is also a huge passion of mine. And so it's just kind of like slowly developed and became one of my main goals, actually. One of my main ambition is to kind of be a screenwriter or a script writer.
nice. Nice.
Yeah.
When it comes to writing, like where do you start? Is it all from like a memory, or is it kind of you see something in the street and you go, yes, that's really interesting. I want to write about that. Where does it all
Well,
start?
sometimes it's that. Honestly,
Yeah.
my ideas come from the most random places. Quite a few ideas come from dreams. So I'll wake
Mm,
up and I'll be like, that was an interesting dream. That could totally be a story.
yeah.
Or, I'll just be on the train and my mind will wander, and maybe I'll see someone and I'll just kind of put a backstory to that, or it's moments usually that kind of come to me. It's a moment that then I develop in my brain, and I'm like, well, what's the whole story? But they really can come from the most random places. I'm trying to think of an example that I can't think of right now. But yeah, they're very, very sporadic, really random. I've never had to really search for anything. Do you know what I mean? When I say I've never thought I want to write a story, but I don't know what about. It's usually like I've got 5 million ideas in my head that I've just accumulated, and it's like, well, I need to pick one.
Yeah. It's like you pick one, and it's like you get another thought, which is, what about me? What about me? And you're just like, okay, I only have time for one story right now.
Literally, and I'm such a procrastinator as well, and quite fickle in terms of I will put all my energy into something, and then I won't finish it, but then I'll get another idea for this other thing, and so then I'll move on to that. And so I've got honestly, I was going through my laptop the other day, and I've got so many unfinished scripts. It's ridiculous. I just need to learn to actually finish something and have some self-discipline.
But also, that actually, I forgot to mention, do you still keep up with your Instagram page, the Mission Audition? Do you still keep up with that as well?
That went on pause. Obviously, when I went on the ship.
Okay.
Yeah, Mission Audition was designed. It was a business that I started at the beginning of 2021. When the pandemic was happening, and I saw people doing all these businesses, and I was like, well, what can I because I just wanted to have something to do that included my skills. It wasn't really to make money, but I thought I could possibly charge for it. And then I thought, well, I play the piano. I've directed before. I've obviously, you help your friends with auditions all the time. So I was like, well, maybe I could come up with something that helps people with auditions and preparing for an audition. Yeah. So then I know how to. I have a keyboard. I have a laptop where I can create backing tracks with it. I have self-tape lights and all this kind of stuff that I thought, well, maybe I could go to someone's house if they don't have that, and I could help them, and I could be the reader opposite, and all this kind of different services. Oh yeah, and piano lessons and singing lessons. So I kind of put all that into one thing called Mission Audition, which was really fun. It kind of achieved what I wanted to achieve in my own sense of fulfillment. At the time, and then obviously I had to shut it down when I went on the ship. But now that we're out of the pandemic, obviously people have a lot more access to their friends, and so I think if I was going to relaunch Mission Audition, I'd have to condense it to something more specific. For example, the backing tracks is what I really, really love doing. I love creating them. Yeah. So I might have to go down that route. I've not got around to thinking about it yet. I've only been back a couple of weeks. Give me time.
Okay. So I mean, I could put it in the description below, sort of like as a little link to the page if anyone's interested in looking for stuff. Or do you want me to kind of hold off for the moment until you get back in business, do you think?
Maybe hold off. Hold off. When are you planning on posting this?
This pretty much goes out as soon as we finish. So I'm quite quick. So, yeah. So I can make people aware of it if you want, and then sure. We go from there, really. But if not, I can always edit the description. So just get back in touch and say Mission Audition is back or something like that.
Right.
Go from there. But that's a good thing to say, that guys, if any of you want backing tracks or anything, Alex's page, Mission Audition on Instagram, it will be back soon. So Alex will do the piano accompaniment, as you said, the self-tapes and stuff. So if any of you, so I'm right in thinking that if someone wants a piano backing track to say Let It Go or something from Frozen, you'll be able to play it, record it, and send it over to them in a way.
Exactly right. And I can make it bespoke as well. So if you want a specific audition cut, then I can get rid of certain, to the point of getting rid of just like a bar or whole sections. I can make it really bespoke and change the key as well. So if you wanted it in a different key, all this kind of stuff, if you wanted a certain bit slower or whatever, however you want to cater it to your own performance, I can create a track for that.
Yeah, and you can take up a semitone or down a semitone, down a whole key or something like that.
Any key you like, I can put it in it.
Perfect. There you go, guys. So future audition tapes are coming your way now. Hopefully you'll get flooded with requests. That was all good. But yeah, so you spoke about how I mean, just before we came on, we talked about your experience of GSA, and I'll just move on to your training, because I think it'd be good to have, if anyone's watching or listening who's interested in musical theatre, you want to go to GSA or Central or any sort of top drama school to do MT. I think now is a good time to sort of talk about the experience, what's required of you, what is the overall experience, and I know we had some lessons, I think, over a year ago now, which is crazy, probably even more than that. And I think I asked you, what was your experience of GSA? And you said it was some of the best yet most challenging time of your life because of the training and stuff. But before we get into that, what was your, I'm just curious to know, actually, what was your audition song? How did you get in? What song did you have?
My audition song was Santa Fe, I believe. Well, I auditioned for GSA twice.
Okay.
The first time I didn't manage to get in, but I did get into Chichester University, and I actually ended up going there for a year whilst I re-auditioned for the place, and I knew I wanted to go to GSA, so I re-auditioned again and got in. So when I got in, I took Santa Fe. Do you have to take two songs? Was it one?
It sounds familiar. Yeah.
Well, the one I remember is Santa Fe, and then we had a dance round. And oh yeah, and you had to prepare a monologue as well. That's right. You had to prepare a monologue, which I think I took one from. I think I took one from the Elephant Man, which I can't remember at all now. I don't even remember how that story goes, but there we go.
Yeah, that's fun. But yeah, so when you got to GSA, how would you sum up those 3 years and, some of the best and yet challenging time of your life? What was it like in a nutshell for you, those 3 years?
In a nutshell, God, how do you fit 3 of those years into a nutshell? It's a really crazy time because it's filled with so many different elements. You're in every day really early to late. You're doing extra things on the side. It's exhausting. And you're trying to soak up as much as possible. And then on top of that, you're also trying to make friends and have a social life. And, you being 18, 19, you just kind of want to have fun as well. So it's trying to find that balance. And then on top of that, it's also the thinking about the future, and what comes after GSA, and trying to establish yourself so that you are ready for when you go out into the world. And then there's just all of this going on, which is why I say it's some of the best and most challenging, because it for the fun parts that are really fun, but then you're also battling with your own self-confidence and thinking, am I good? Am I not good? Am I better than that person? You're comparing yourself to these people who you'll probably never even audition with anyway, because they're completely different casting bracket. So it can be really, really overwhelming. And you didn't ask this question, but I was going to say, looking back, if I could give advice to myself back then, it would be to have more fun. And when I say that, I mean with the training, not being so worried about getting it right, and more about just letting go and just having fun and trying things and being okay to, I'll put it in quote marks, fail, because it's not really failing. It's just trying something and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work, but that's not a failure. That is totally a lesson, a learning curve, and that's more valuable. It's more valuable to get things wrong than it is to get things right.
Absolutely. I think someone made a good point when I was there, which was to say that it's called drama school for a reason. The school element, you go there to learn and fall flat on your face and then pick yourself back up again and do it again. The amount of times, I thought I got a monologue down and then I'd get up and do it, and my brain would go, what? No.
Right.
What? I was like, where's the monologue that we practiced? Like, no, it's not there. I haven't got the words.
And that's okay as well, because like you find out, like if you spent time learning a monologue and then it kind of leaves your mind when you get to it, it's kind of like, okay, so why did it leave my mind? What kind of overtook everything that made me forget it? And then you know what I mean? You can just always find the lesson in everything. And that's a hard thing to remember to do, because you just think, I got it wrong, I'm terrible, and I'll never work.
That is very true. It's very true. And I think it's I think you learn so much about yourself at drama school as well. Did you find that you learn a lot about yourself through your training?
Yes, absolutely. The good and the bad.
Yeah,
As
absolutely.
in you learn what you're growing up. You are growing up,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you don't stop. Well, you don't stop growing up, really, do you?
no,
It's just emotionally, mentally, a wild ride. It really is. But you learn so much about yourself.
mm,
Um, and continue on. I've been doing the cruise. I learned so much about myself and feel like I've changed so much. And obviously, well, the first one was 7, 8 months, and the second one was, well, less than, because it got cut short, unfortunately. But yeah, but when you compare it with drama school, which is 3 years, of course you're going to change so much in that time. I
mm,
think you think that you're supposed to stay the same,
mm,
just a better version of yourself. But
mm.
I mean, for me at least, I won't speak for everyone, but for me, I didn't. I completely changed persons, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, what would you say was like the day in the life of an NT student? Like, I mean, obviously you do different work first year, second, and third, but what's like a typical day of life as an MT student at drama school?
Yeah, well, you wake up
Yeah, that's so
and probably going over and over any songs or any monologues or any kind of things that you're supposed to have known for that day. Um, every week you had to learn, I think, about one, two, three, four, about 5 songs every week that you had to
wow.
different songs. And then usually when we had accent classes, it was learning. I think, was it 2 monologues or was it one? Maybe it was one monologue a week. So that's already 6 things. And then if you think about any of the ballet exercises, tap exercises, all these things that you're supposed to know, it's all of that. So typical day is you get up
Yeah.
early and you're going over everything that you need to go over. I think the first thing was usually ballet at 8:30, I believe. Um, so you do an hour and a half of that. Then it's straight into tap, an hour and a half of tap, or tap or jazz usually. Um, then I think it came to lunch, and you'd have either a voice lesson or ensemble lesson, and then there was half-hour singing lessons scattered out throughout the day, um, and you kind of do all those classes until it gets to about 6, I think. And then after that, if there's a show going on or you're rehearsing for something else, if you're into GSA singers or if you're in GSA dancers, which I wasn't, so I didn't have to worry about that. But then you've got that to go to, or you've got your extracurricular things that you have to do. So it's a long day, and that's 5 days a week. And
Wow.
then obviously at the weekend, if you're working 2 jobs like I was, then you're
Yeah.
working just to get money.
I mean, there was I listened to your appearance on Ashton's podcast, a sister business before today. And so yeah, shout out to Ashton and Amy. So you mentioned in that episode, I think I think Ash told a story that she walked in, she was doing it was one weekend, she was going shopping in Guildford one day, and she went into a shop and there's you on the till there. And then she went to, I think she went to this place called the Snug. I'm not sure if that was another shop or a bar or something. And then you were
Yeah,
there as well.
yeah. There was a time when I was working 3 jobs at once. Yes, 3 jobs. Yeah, that was. I remember that. That was so funny because I was working at
Yeah. Mm.
Anthropology, which is a clothes shop, and I was. Oh, I was working at the theatre, the Ivan Arno,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, in the cafe, in the evenings, and yeah, and then I was also working at Snog. Snog was the name of it. It's a yogurt place,
Oh,
like frozen
yes,
yogurt.
yes. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, just click that. My head remembers that.
Yeah.
I would,
And that
I
was
mean,
when
yeah.
she saw me. That was my first day there as well. And my best friend, Jed, he'd been he was the manager there, so I
Mm,
got a job quite easily. And
good.
obviously he trusts me already, so he'd actually gone to, I think, work in the office. and left me just by myself. And this was obviously my first day, and I was just kind of managing. So that's why it was so funny that she just saw me there, and she was like, are you just doing this by yourself?" And I was like, "Yep."
God, it's like you turn up on your first day and the manager goes, "Okay, so you're in charge. Okay, bye."
Right, exactly. And I was just like, "Okay."
I don't know what to do.
I mean, I guess it's only frozen yogurt at the end of the day. You just put toppings on, and there you go.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be £4.50, please.
Oh yeah, that too.
But how did you? Because you mentioned there like you're in from like 8 in the morning till late at night and stuff. So how did you balance just jobs on top of all that as well? You must have had no time to breathe at one point.
More or less. I mean, I tried to isolate the jobs to the weekend, but I think I would be at the theatre on Friday night and Saturday night, and then working at anthropology in the day. What did we do? I think it was usually 12 till 4. It was only 4 hours.
Okay.
But still it took it out of you. So 4 hours Saturday, 4 hours Sunday. And when I was working at Snug, that was over summer. So I was doing, when I was doing 3 jobs, that was over summer. So I wasn't doing GSA at the same time.
Yeah, of course. But still like all that on top of it. So yeah, I remember speaking to again Ashton about this, and I asked her, so, and again, I think this is kind of key really, is that when you sort of face a really tough time at GSA, like you said, like 5 songs a week, a monologue, a dance classes, etc. When you're faced with like a period in like your whatever year, first, second, or third, where things are just piling up, what would you say was the best way to just get through it in a way? What would you say was a good? I know kind of get through it is kind of self-explanatory, really, but what would you say was like a good way of just like managing your time and making sure you've got everything learned and down, so then you're not kind of panicking?
Yeah. Well, I guess organization is obviously key, and it's not putting things off, which I was very good at putting things off. But it's once you know that you have to do a monologue, then as soon as you get home, unfortunately, you don't have time to rest. You just have to find it and start learning as soon as you can.
Yeah.
It's totally a memory exercise. It's absolutely a memory exercise for a lot of it. And it does. Memory is definitely a muscle. The more you memorize things, the quicker you get, the faster. You know what I'm saying? But also it goes back to what I said before as well. It's do the work, be organized, and do all the things that you have to do to get through it. But I wish I could go back and be like, don't put so much pressure on it. If you forget a line, you're not going to die. You're not going to get kicked out of the school, and you're not going to never work. Just like, if you forget a line, it's fine. If you fuck it up, it's fine. Are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Fuck it. Yeah, I think that's it. But drama school has this kind of elitism, I think, and you feel that pressure, and you feel like you have to be perfect and be smashing it all the time. And what I wish was said more and was advised more was that it's okay, and we understand that you've got pressure, but it's okay not to make that deadline every time, or to not. It's a difficult one because it teaches a good discipline, and I'm all about that. As much as I just said before that I've not got very good self-discipline, I've got good discipline when I'm being told what to do, and it teaches you that. It teaches you to be able to handle yourself in a rehearsal space as professionally as possible. And I've noticed that as well from doing the jobs that I did, Kinky Boots especially. I was very proud of and happy with the discipline I had within a rehearsal space. I feel like it kind of reflects well not only on me but on the training that I had.
Yeah. And how would you, and also it gives you an idea of what it's like to prepare for a show as well, because I know in second year the MTs do, well, the ones that I saw did like a sort of like class showing in one of the studios and stuff, and then in your final year you do a big production in the Ivy Theatre, which is kind of the big theatre on on campus. So what was it like? Well, first of all, what shows did you do? Because I know you did you do 2 in your final year, or was it 3?
We did 3.
3, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, they do a good job of kind of building up, because in first year, which actually is what that My Fair Lady thing is. You do kind of like an abridged version of it, and you perform that in one of the studios just to the rest of the school. Then at the end of second year, you do we call black box theatre, and we did which is when you do a musical, but it's kind of like it's minimal set and it's minimal everything really. You're just in a black box, just one of the studios. And we did the Wild Party, but L'Accusa's version, which was one of the funnest things ever. It was so great. It was directed by Phillida Crowley-Smith, and musical directed by Neil Bailey, who I think are both still there. I think they are.
Might be. I don't know the MT.
Oh, I see. I think they are still there. And that was so much fun. And then leads into third year, where the first we do 2 shows. We do 3 shows each individually, but we kind of split the year in half. So at the beginning, my half of the year did Thoroughly Modern Millie, which was really fun, and the other half of the year did. Oh no, I don't remember. I don't remember what it was. Then we all did Guys and Dolls.
Yeah.
And then we're at the Even Arno Theatre. And then we split again, and my half of the year did a Kurt Weill musical review called Speak Low, which was by Julian Wolford. He put that together. And the other half of the year did Forbidden Broadway. Do you know what that is?
No.
Forbidden Broadway is like they do all the big musical numbers that you know, but it's kind of like a spoof version, so it's supposed to be funny.
Okay.
But Thoroughly Modern Millie was really fun. Guys and Dolls was really, really fun as well. That was great. That was really great, and we had such a great reception from the audience every single time. It was a really fun show to do.
Fantastic.
I can't believe I can't remember what the other half of the year did against Thoroughly Modern Millie. No. Oh, Catch Me If You Can. Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can. Nice. But I always wondered about, what was it like preparing for like big shows like that in the, the Ivy and stuff, and the Ivana and stuff. So I think, funny enough, I remember preparing for today, and I sort of Googled I went onto YouTube and just typed your name in, because looking for Sister Business, and there's an interview of yourself in there, actually in one of the studios. I think you were I think you were one of those people at drama school who was just getting work as you were in drama school. Is that right?
No, that is not the case. That is not the case. No, that interview was with my old agency. That was with Winterstones. Right. So they interviewed me for their website, I think, and I was a fresh grad, and they put me on their website, and then they did an interview with me where they were asking questions like, how was drama school, what was it like signing with Winterstones, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what that interview is. It's so funny, because anytime someone Googles me, they find that video, and I'm just like, no. I think one of the answers that I gave did not make sense. I think I said polar opposite things from the start of when I was speaking to the end of when I was speaking, and I was like, what am I talking about?
No, I think the reason why I sort of thought you were getting work already was because I think you mentioned that you got your agent, and you were getting like 2 castings like immediately, like afterwards and stuff. So you were getting work, opportunities, auditions quite quickly.
Yes, they did. They got me some auditions quite quickly after signing with them, and they were a good agency for getting me some auditions for some big stuff. But over the 2 years that I was with them, I kind of knew that I wasn't going to go straight to the West End. I wasn't going to dive right into these big shows, and I knew that my career was just going to progress. And unfortunately, that we just couldn't serve each other that way, myself and the agency. And so after 2 years, I knew it was coming anyway, and we let each other go. Okay. And and now I don't know, I found myself with Apollo Artist Management, which is a great agency. Really, really enjoying it with them. And they got me my first job, you know, and the first audition that they put me on, actually, I got the job, and I was just kind of like, this is brand new to me. This feeling is amazing. And they got me a job with Viking Cruises. But I didn't end up taking it because a couple of weeks later I got Kinky Boots on Norwegian Cruise Lines, which is the job that I'd been trying for so long. That was my 6th time trying for the job, and I finally got it, and it was a really lovely moment.
Yeah. So I don't know anything about Kinky Boots. I haven't seen it as of now, but I hear nothing but good things about it. I hear it's one of quite a special evening in the theatre, you know, especially for any musical theatre lovers or anything out there. Who is Angel then? Who is Angel? I know nothing about this person.
So Kinky Boots is a story about acceptance and accepting people for who they are. And so Charlie, who is the one of the main characters, he unexpectedly takes over a shoe factory that his dad had been running, but his dad passes away at the beginning of the show. That's not a spoiler alert, it just happens at the beginning. So and so he takes over the shoe factory reluctantly, and it's failing, the business is failing, and then he meets a drag queen called Lola. And her problem is that they can't find heels that can stand the weight of a man and can, like, you know, he's a drag queen. Did I say that already? He's a drag queen. And so Charlie gets this idea: what if the factory starts making kinky boots for drag queens to wear for their shows? And that's the story. And so my part, so Lola has her angels. She has 6 angels that are kind of like her, like, I guess, backup, but just kind of like ensemble, gaggle of fabulous drag queens is kind of a quote from the musical, and I was one of them. And each angel kind of gets some kind of feature throughout it. Each one kind of has their individual niche that they do. So one of them is called the referee, who sings a number in the middle of the show and sings extremely high. So there's one niche. One of them is can do a backflip in heels. That's their niche. Another does a tour into splits in heels. That's their niche. But my niche was I wear a bikini in one of the numbers. And so I'm a rounds girl. So I come out and I reveal that all I've got on is just like this gold bikini.
Oh, nice.
And so that was my niche, is that I look okay in a bikini.
Good. I got this image of like yourself just sort of walking on stage one night, and then suddenly you remember, wait, did I put it on?
Right. Honestly, that's a genuine fear. It's like, have I got all 2 pieces of my outfit on tonight?
I see the director going, Alex, you had one job.
Well, that's it. I was so forgetful. I shouldn't probably advertise myself as forgetful, but
yeah, don't worry about it.
It ended up that the angels would before we started the show, they'd be double checking everything. They'd be like, have you got your lashes? Like, one time I did the first number without lashes on. Have you got your earrings on? Have you got your wig on? I mean, I never forgot my wig, but have you got your wig on? Have you got your heels on? Oh, it kind of became a running joke. So yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if I came out in just tights.
And the director's going, oh.
He's going, oh, not again.
Oh yeah, I'm joking. I'm sure he wouldn't do that. But yeah, but do you think it's still on in town, isn't it? It's still on in London, isn't it?
No. It finished in 2019.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, it had a run on off Broadway recently. It ran. I don't know how long it ran for. A good few months though. And they're doing it regionally all over the US. So I'm hoping that it comes back to England, because it is a really great show. It's a really, really wonderful show. Very heartwarming, very inclusive, and just, like I said, it's about acceptance. So you can't really go wrong with that.
Of course, yeah. I think if it comes by, in fact, when it comes back, do you think and your agent manages to get you in the door to for the new cast and stuff. I mean, is there a role which you really want? Would you be an angel again, or is there another role sort of in the supporting cast, or would you go for a leading role that you really want to do?
No, no, I think I'd go for the angels. I don't think I'd suit anything else. If anything, maybe when I'm older, then maybe Charlie, but I think that's still a
Yeah,
stretch. The angel, I am one of the angels. I'll never be anything else, and that is absolutely fine with me. I love it so much. I love
good
it.
stuff. Good stuff. But
Yeah.
it'll come back, man. I'm sure you'll have your opportunity again. So that brings me on to life on the cruise. I mentioned you were part of Norwegian Cruise Lines with the show, and you took it all around the world, across the seas. It's a cliche, but it's true. Yeah, what was life like on the cruise? Yeah,
Yeah, it's amazing.
yeah,
It's a very, very different lifestyle. Very, very different. There's
yeah.
rules and regulations that you have to abide by. But you get to see some incredible places. We rehearsed in Tampa in Florida,
Oh wow.
on land, that is. And whilst the part of Tampa we were in, there isn't much. There's clubs and stuff in Ybor City, which is very close by.
Yeah.
And I just love that experience anyway. You're with your cast all the time because you share apartments. And I actually met one of my best friends, Reagan, there. He was one of the first people I met because we were sharing an apartment together. And
Mhm.
now we're very close friends, and it's really lovely. And
Nice.
he and so we rehearsed there, and then we fly to for our specific contract. We flew to Seattle in Washington,
Yeah.
and got on board the ship there. And then we did about a month or 2 months of going up and down the west coast of Alaska. So
Mhm.
seeing some incredible places, seeing glaciers, going on these amazing hikes. And then once that stint is done, we then do the Panama Crafts. So we go all the way down the west coast of the United States, and then we go across and under, and we go through the Panama Canal,
Mhm.
um, also going past Mexico and stopping at different ports in Mexico. We go
Wow.
through the Panama Canal, which is an amazing experience. If anyone ever gets the chance to go through the Panama Canal, do it, because it's basically like these huge locks and then this
Mm.
huge ship going down this tiny canal. It's kind of crazy.
Mhm.
And then we end up in Miami and do go around the Caribbean, stopping at different ports in the Caribbean. So being able to see places like that, places that you'd never think to go, or it would be, for us living in England, it's expensive to fly all the way over there and go. So it's places that you would never would have gone. Um, and it's just lovely. It's really lovely, and the show itself is really fun. And you don't have to cook. You don't really, well, you have to clean to an extent.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was a really lovely contract. The first contract was crazy because it was coming out of the pandemic.
All right.
Um, and so actually we had a lot of restrictions. So actually, when I said about getting off in Alaska, we didn't get off the ship for uh, about 2.5 months. So the
Wow.
whole Alaska stint, we weren't able to get off. So it wasn't until my second contract with MCL that I was able to actually get off in Alaska. It was one of the reasons why I wanted to do it again, because I wanted to
Mm.
do the contract properly.
Yeah. You can
But
actually
yeah,
explore like Alaska properly, like right with no kind of restrictions in your way and stuff. But
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
so what was it? Because I remember again, I spoke to Ash about this as well, about how the reaction was like kind of different wherever you went in the world and stuff. And you're doing shows, even though it's the same core group of guests that you have on the ship. I mean, you
Mm.
kind of get you get familiar with them and stuff, but did you get a different reaction to the show every night? I mean, I'm not saying anything bad. I'm sure it was a lovely experience everywhere you went, but was it a different reaction every time, where the audience would like be laughing one night and the next day they'd be getting a really emotional reaction to it? Was there a diverse reaction to this thing?
Totally, totally. There was, I mean, especially when you look at, say, we're in the Alaska,
Yeah.
definitely the demographic of passengers were older in Alaska. And then when we go to Miami, the demographic is a little bit younger.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely get different reactions there. Being in being in the US, um, well, not just that for that reason. There's just you would get sometimes bad reactions, not from the whole audience. It'll be individuals who don't enjoy the show at all because of the drag queens and because of the types of people that are in it.
Right.
That's their prerogative, I guess.
Yeah.
But the majority of people love it. They absolutely love it. You know, they leave the show feeling just happy, and we would get loads of really lovely comments. One that sticks out in my mind is that someone left a comment, because you can write comment cards for the different parts of the shift, different entertainment or crew or whatever. And someone left a comment card that said that it completely changed their mind about certain things, and it caused them to go to their children who were also on board, their teenagers, and apologize to them, and I don't know what their situation was, but he just said that, told them that they could be whatever they want to be, and they apologized for any kind of like repression that they may have put upon their children. And that's the thing about Kinky Boots and why it is so special, is it can change people's minds about things. I mean, I'm laughing when I say that, because one of the quotes in the show is, "You change the world when you change your mind." But it's true. It's true. And true. It's worked. It's done it to many people, and that's why it was such a wonderful show to be part of, and why it was so important to have it on the ship as well, and have it shown to all these people that might not necessarily actually go to New York to watch the show or go to the theatre. You know, they went because it was part of their ticket cost, and you know, they might as well because it's there, or their wife dragged them along or whatever, or their children said, "I want to go see that." And you reach out to a demographic of people that might not have seen it otherwise, and it was really wonderful, really, really wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's a very good discipline thing for you as performance as well, because as you say, if someone doesn't like the performance stuff, and you know, just being an idiot about it, or you know, because as you say, it sounds like a really lovely musical, like you say, about acceptance, and if some people have issues with that, then you know, as you say, it's their prerogative and stuff. But I think did it teach you a lot about discipline, of just how to keep the performance going? As they say, the show must go on, etc. But when you know, when you are faced with a tricky audience, did it teach you how to just keep going, basically just keep going, just keep the story going, stay passionate about it, and just not care about what anyone else thinks?
Well, the thing was, I was never truly aware of anyone in the audience that wasn't really enjoying it, apart from unless they were in the front row and they've just sat there with their arms folded just like this. But I was never really truly aware of it. And the only, I put in quote marks, trickiness of an audience is just if they were quieter. And, you know, and if they were quiet, then, you know, maybe we'll come off stage and be like, "Oh, they're a bit quiet tonight, aren't they?" But then you realize when it gets to the end, they're all on their feet and they're all cheering and they're all clapping. And so sometimes you just kind of give the audience the benefit of the doubt that actually they are enjoying it. They're just not as vocal as other audiences have been. But I guess to answer your question, when you're not able to do the show for the audience, then you do the show for you. You know, you perform it because you love it. And we did, or the whole cast, we loved it so much. So if we weren't getting at least a vocal response from the audience, then we'd just be doing it for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just do. I think, and another thing they teach you, I think, drama school, I think in life in general, is just if you're enjoying something and if you love what you do, then it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, you know, and just keep going with it. And
and on that, if you're enjoying it, the audience is going to enjoy it more. And that goes through with what I've learned as well, and what I'm still trying to keep myself accountable for is auditions, and making sure that I just enjoy the audition, and just like I'm just getting to sing in front of people. Like, if I think of it more as just like a very intimate performance rather than an audition, then I can at least enjoy it more, and they'll feel that enjoyment as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what stage stories you have. Do you have any funny moments that have happened on stage, or any moments that I don't want to bring up bad memories or anything. I don't want to say what's the time when things didn't go right.
No. Well, yeah.
Anything like that.
With Kinky Boots, it's a very technical show in the sense that there's a lot of props and there's a lot of we have this big unit that gets moved a lot. And you have to break it when you flip a switch and it breaks it so that it doesn't roll around everywhere. And on top of that, in one of the numbers, actually in several parts of the show, there are treadmills, right? So they're kind of about a meter and a bit off the ground, and they have like these big bars that you can help that helps you to kind of like push them and move them. And in one of the numbers, it's a lot of the dancing is on the treadmills, and we move them around the stage and stuff. And now the treadmills have to be charged, and sometimes the batteries fail, and sometimes someone will be because you'd have to like slide through sometimes. So you hang onto the bar and swing through and land on the treadmill for it to roll you off. Sometimes you just land and it would just be stopped and you could just have to shuffle yourself up and out. There was times when that happens, but also there was a time when, because we move it into a line at one point and then someone rides it all the way across, but one of them had stopped, which was one of the ones in the middle. And so she starts going across and she's screaming at this point. She's just like, ah, it's part of the show. She's going, ah, and she just gets to the one that stops and she goes, ah, ah, and then she just rolls herself onto the floor and then just runs off. And then the people that had to get that treadmill off, it just was not moving. And luckily it wasn't me. And everyone has to go for a quick change at that point as well. So everyone else is just like, I'm worrying about myself. Have fun with that.
It's like you see the issue. It's like, okay, just slip away.
Right, exactly. I think I actually waved at them. I waved. I was just like, see ya.
Sorry, I've got somewhere else to be. I can't get up. That's great.
I got a quick change to do.
Now, would you recommend the whole cruise line experience to any actors who are starting out or would like to get involved in it? Just the experience of doing that around the world, would you recommend it?
Absolutely. I would absolutely recommend doing a ship at least once in your life. Some people, it's not for them. I've got a few friends that, and the reasons that they gave are very, very valid. And, there are people that they are the people that I wouldn't be like, no, you have to, just because they say they get very, very seasick or, they struggle with claustrophobia or things like that. I never felt claustrophobic, and none of us really felt claustrophobic, purely for the fact that the ship is very, very big and you can get off the ship. It was very different, obviously, after the pandemic when we couldn't get off the ship. Then it did feel a bit like,
of course,
okay, cabin fever. But it's an experience unlike any other. You get to travel and see these great places, and you get to meet some wonderful people from all over the world as well. And it's and get to work with some incredible people. I've now got some incredible friends who live in New York, and they're across an ocean, but they're still a close friend and will be for a very, very long time. And it means as well that I've got people to go see when I go and visit New York, and think you just make these connections that otherwise you probably wouldn't have done, and a lot of them at that. And we were very lucky that the show that we were doing, whilst it was condensed slightly, so that it was a one-act show, or rather just a show without an interval, it was the original production. It was the original choreography. It was the original direction, original everything. And the director that I worked with was the Broadway people, bar Jerry Mitchell. Jerry Mitchell wasn't there for our one, who was the original director and choreographer. But I was working with Rusty Mowry and DB Barnes, and I hope I just got his surname right. Anyway, but it's going to be awkward if it wasn't right. DB is his name anyway. I got to work with them, and I wouldn't change that for anything. And it shows that I wanted to do it again. I would absolutely hands down do it again. It was an incredible experience, and especially a great thing. And it teaches you a lot about yourself as well. I feel like I've changed in many, many ways for the good as well. You go, it's like drama school. You do go through the bad stuff as well. You can because it's such a close, you're in close quarters with the same people for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, friendships develop quickly, relationships develop quickly, and also decline quickly sometimes if it's, you know, if it goes wrong. But
Yeah.
all, again, it's just all things to learn from, and there's just nothing that you can go through where you can't learn something from it, is what I tell myself all the time. And it helps me get through them, because I just think, rather than thinking, well, this is shit, I think, okay, well, what can I learn from it?
Yeah.
And that just makes me feel a little bit better that I've grown from it. Yeah.
That's great. That's really good advice, I think, for anyone. And I think this also brings one to auditions and stuff. You know, like, do you have any advice for like best preparation for auditions? Do you have like a ritual? Do you have like a routine? I know you mentioned earlier that the best thing you want to do is just to enjoy the experience, you know, just enjoy auditions more. And I'm exactly the same. But when it comes to, I haven't trained in tap or contemporary dance or anything like that. I haven't got the vast skill set that you MTs have, but you know, what's it like preparing for an audition where, you know, you're going to be asked to sing, you're going to be asked to do a monologue or dancing and stuff, you know? Yeah, what did you have a routine? Do you have a ritual? What do you do to best prepare?
Um, I don't know if a routine. I don't think I have a specific routine. But like, if they ask you for two contrasting songs, then pick. I'm talking to myself here. I'm not going to tell anyone what to do, but I'm talking to myself. Pick two songs that you know very, very well, you know, and that you're comfortable with. Try as much as possible to avoid finding a new song
Yeah.
that then you're going to worry about, because you're like, will I remember the words? Will I not? Like, I have to learn every single note so that I know exactly what I'm doing, you know, and it's the auditions in 3 days.
Yeah.
I will try and pick songs that I already know really, really well and that I know I can sing. And anything else that you don't have to prepare, you know, maybe there's a dance call. All you can do is, this is again what I've been telling myself recently, all you can do is bring yourself the product. You are the product. Show them what that product is, and be like, do you want it or do you not want it? And if they don't want it, then they don't want it. If they do want it, great. But you cannot, I keep saying you as in I'm talking to myself, you cannot be something you're not. You cannot mold to every single job.
That's right.
There's no use in that, because you'll kind of always just be a watered down version of what you are. You might as well just know what you can do, take yourself to the audition room and say, this is me, do you want it? And I think that also, for me, that takes the pressure off as well, because I'm not trying to impress someone. I'm not trying to be what I think they're looking for. I'm just trying to be me and sell myself, rather than sell myself to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you know, present what you do and like your essence, you essentially, and present you to the panel in a way. And also, I think another thing is that the panel want you to do well as well. They're not there to try and catch you out or anything. It's like you don't walk into the room and they're going, I hope you do the worst audition of your life and you're going to remember this for the rest of your career. And it's like, no. They're not trying to do that. They need to solve this puzzle. They need someone to be an angel in Kinky Boots who loves the material and would absolutely love to do it all over the world or in London or whatever it is. And, you know, yourself, you walk in and you go, this is how much I love the material. This is me. This is what I do. And they're going, oh, and I can probably heavily assume that they went, this is who we need. Fantastic. We don't need to look anymore. We've got this guy, Alex Gage, and he's our guy. And I think, and it goes towards anything, you know, I think any sort of TV drama or any audition, like the panel is on your side and you don't need to fear the panel in any way. I mean, if that makes sense.
Totally. And actually, on what you just said, I don't think I think it rarely is, oh, this is totally the person we've been looking for. Sometimes it is, but actually I think most of the time it's just like, we've actually got these 5 people that would be incredible for this role. Like, how are we going to pick this? Well, this person can do that, but this person can do that, or this person looks that way, and then when we pair it with this person, like, do the, there's 9 million things that go into casting a show, that details that you'll never even think about, and that things that are going on in their heads that you just won't know. You can't control it. You can't read minds. You just don't know. And so if you get a no, it's not a reflection of your talent. It's just technicalities that you can't control, which is a really hard thing to kind of accept. So I definitely find it hard accepting that. But it is technicalities most of the time, because we've all had training. We've all refined our skills. We're all good at something. And yeah, so it's usually not a reflection on the skills. It's a reflection on just technicalities.
Yeah. And I think even if you are given a job which is a little bit further out from what, is a stretch for yourself, I mean, I think if I was given something that's quite a departure for me, I'd still be like, yeah, well, I'm still going to have a go. I'm still going to
exactly
out. Yeah.
Because you can, again, fill it with yourself, fill it with the way you do it. And then maybe that, maybe it is what they're looking for. But, if it is a bit of a stretch out, then it's just kind of like, well, I'll bring myself to it rather than change myself to fit that. And yeah, going off of what I was just saying as well with Kinky Boots, it wasn't the case of this is the guy we've been looking for and there's no one else. Because I tried for it 6 times in front of the same people every single time, apart from once. And always getting this close. And it never faltered in my mind that I was like, no, I know I can do the show. I know I'm right for this part. They know I'm right for this part. But it just becomes a technicality. And unfortunately, I did get rejected 5 of the 6 times, but 6 times a charm, as they say.
As they say. I'd love to. I just got a few more things for you today, Alex, before we sort of finish. I'd love to ask you about your experience at the Oliviers in 2016 when you're in the choir. Because for anyone who doesn't know, GSA has some really good links with the Oliviers every year. And it was interesting to read that I think was it you and your year group, you managed to get to the Oliviers and performed in the choir that was part of the show.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't think it was just our year group. I think it was all years and anyone who could and wanted to do it, maybe.
Okay.
I can't quite remember because I think it was in 2nd year at the time, which is a very long time ago now. And yeah, it just came up because it wasn't the Oliviers. It was an anniversary celebration thing, I think.
Yeah.
And Maria Friedman was running it, and brought a load of guest stars as well to sing. And we were basically the choir that sang behind them. I think we sang for Sit Down, You're Rocking the Boat with I don't remember his name, but we sang the backing for that, and a few other songs. But it was a great experience. I mean, being in that theatre was lovely. We got a coach there from GSA, and it was just really fun. And we got to work with a name like Maria Friedman, and she came into GSA and was helping teach our songs, and so did the guy that sung "Sit Down, You're Rocking the Boat," and I can't remember his name. See, I told you my memory. It's just terrible.
No, it's all good, man. But so did you do that at the I should probably know this, but I don't, so sorry about that. But you did it at the Albert Hall, or did you do it?
No, we did it at the theatre that's that's next to the South Bank Centre.
Royal Festival Hall.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's spectacular. That's spectacular.
Yeah, it was a great space, a really great space. Yeah, it was fun. Definitely very fun. Would do it again. Would recommend.
I recommend. Yeah, Royal Festival Hall, Olivier's, guys.
Yeah, get the chance. Famous people that you can't remember who they are.
Did you see anyone in the crowds that you recognized? Any heroes of yours watching on?
No, I couldn't see that far. It's a big space. It's a really big space. But we sung with I think Scarlett Oh, what are the sisters called?
Oh, hang on.
Scarlett, uh,
Scarlett,
Scarlett City, and
somebody else.
anyway,
Anyways,
those sisters,
Scarlett and Co. Let's say that.
Scarlett and other. Do you know what? Cut this bit out because I can't remember anyone's names. They're big people anyway. I just can't remember
Famous
anyone's
people.
names. I'm
Anyway.
terrible.
So just got two more questions for you, man. I'm curious to know what's your, because your love of Kinky Boots and stuff, and you mentioned Charlie and stuff like that, but is there another role in another musical that you'd love to play one day? What's your dream role, or indeed acting role, any dream role across anything, MT or
Oh, it's a difficult question, that one. There was a long time where I really wanted to play Jamie, and everybody's talking about Jamie. I
yeah,
feel like that
yeah.
is a role that I could do and could do really well. I don't know about now. I don't know if I'm too old for it now, which is scary to say, but it's that one.
Yeah,
Oh, Cats. Cats
yeah,
is is a musical. That's the first musical I ever saw, and still is one of my favorite musicals.
great.
Much to the dismay of others. But I'd love to play any of the Cats, any of them, and I'd be happy. So
Yeah,
yeah, they're the
great.
ones that kind of spring to mind.
Nice. Cats, that was good. We'll come back to we'll come back to town, and you'll be there on the poster with all your makeup and your fur on and stuff, and it'll be great.
Yeah, but I'll be playing old Deuteronomy, and I'll be the old person. I'll be too old by then.
Oh, okay.
Augusta Theatre Cat.
I'd never say never, man. Oh, fantastic. Alex, this has been so much fun, man. I've loved listening to your stories. I've loved hearing about the cruise and your time at GSA and stuff. I think, yeah, you provided some really, really helpful stuff. I think anyone who's listening or watching who wants to go to and study musical theatre, I think, as you say, it's a tough discipline and preparation is key, but it's fair to say that you really loved those 3 years as well. I know there was challenges, but would you say that you really did get a lot of out of those 3 years and enjoyed yourself?
Totally. And I think the biggest thing was the connection of friends. Absolutely. The people that I trained with and the support that we had for each other. And I don't think you can get, well, I don't think I could have got through it on my own.
Yeah.
Having those people there, well, you're in it together. You're in the trenches together, basically.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing. Yeah, it's just filled. It's an invaluable experience, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that the right word? Invaluable.
Invaluable. Yeah,
So,
yeah. Invaluable.
valuable and invaluable. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
it was good fun.
Priceless. There we
It was
go.
good fun.
It was good fun.
Yeah, a bit. And did you? I'm sure you guys had time for social life as well, because Guildford's such a lovely city for stuff. God, we went to Ali Bar in Guildford for our
Oh
final.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was a good bar.
yeah, we did our showcase, and then we went to Ali Bar. We're out till like 2 in the morning and getting dirty pizza at 2:30 in the morning. It was it was so much fun.
That sounds delightful.
Yeah, it was and it wasn't at the same time. But it was good fun.
Right.
All the same, but Guildford's lovely. It's all good.
Mm.
Yeah, man. So just yeah, I'm sure people listening and watching to this would really value your words and everything about how important it is to enjoy drama school and but be prepared and just know that you work as a team there as well, and everything in between. And you've sold the idea of cruises as well and Kinky Boots and everything. I'm sure you'll be one to look out for. And plus, you've got some cool auditions coming up. We don't have to talk about them in the episode if you want to keep them hush hush. But you're out there, you're auditioning and stuff, and I'm sure we'll see you in town or the big stage at some point and see what you.
Fingers crossed.
It's going to happen, mate. Don't worry. And just one final question for you today. This is a finishing one for every episode. What's been an experience or experiences that you've had in your career up to date, like at drama school or any of the work you've done since then, that you're never ever gonna forget?
Oh God, you're finishing with a hard one, aren't you? That I'm never gonna forget. Just any experience.
Yeah, and any experience that you've gone, wow, that I will never forget that. That's really meant a lot.
Do you know what? one of the one of the biggest moments for me is the moment that I found out that I'd got Kinky Boots. That was a moment I'll never forget, because I'll try and shorten the story as much as possible. But obviously I'd been dropped by my agent and signed with a new one. And I'd signed with someone called Cleo, who was kind of like the agent's assistant, but she was starting her own books within the agency. So I was one of the first five that she signed, and I was her first boy that she signed. And then after a few weeks, and she was putting me up for auditions and stuff, but including Kinky Boots. But she decided that she wanted to take a different direction, and she didn't know that until that point. So she brought me in for a meeting. I thought I was in trouble, but I wasn't. She let me know that she was actually going to be leaving the agency, and that I would be absorbed into the rest of the books with under Michael Harris. Right. And obviously that was just a really emotional experience, because we got on so well. We really, really got on from the first moment we met each other, and so it was just emotional and sad. But she was doing the best thing for her, and I was always going to support that. Yeah. Anyway, then I auditioned for Kinky Boots and was waiting to hear, and I remember it was her last day in the office, and so I messaged her and I was like, "Is today your last day?" And she was like, "Yeah, it is. Are you able to come into the office for a bit?" And I was like, "Oh, I can't. I'm just about to start work." And so then she starts calling me. So then I pick it up and I'm like, "Hello," and she's like, "Is this the last time that I'm going to get you before you go into work?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" And she said, "Do you want a last bit of good news on my last day?" And I said, "What is it?" She said, "You've got Kinky Boots." And this was several years of trying to get into that show and always getting this close and getting very disappointed every time. Yeah. And when she told me that I got it, and that I got it with her and on her last day, and that I was going to be going to do this show that I'd dreamed of doing for so long, it makes me emotional to talk about it and think about it now, because I still remember how it felt that moment when I'd been told. I obviously burst into tears. And that's a moment that I will never ever forget, and I'll always be thankful for her and for that agency and for this show as well. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great lesson in like never give up as well. You know, sixth time of trying, and you get there, you know.
Right. Eventually, if we try enough times, maybe they'll take maybe they just felt sorry for me. They're like, come on. Come on.
No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. Yeah, that's not what I meant at all. No, they recognized you know, and I think, you know, you fit the puzzle at the right time, and I think
right time, right place, totally.
Exactly, yeah. And you know, even if it was, you know, but you kept trying and trying again, you know, that's a testament to like your strength as well, of just, you know, you want something and you got it, and you know, don't give up, and that's where you ended up. And of course, I'm sure you deserve everything you've done, man, and everything you're going to do in the future. So
thank you so much.
No, my pleasure, man. But yeah, God, I'm getting a bit emotional about that story as well, you know. Just imagine that feeling when you get something that you really wanted, you never gave up, and that must have been
it was the whole journey. I think it was very overwhelming. It was just the time it took to get there, and the work that I put into it and it paid off. And it paid off with the contracts as well, because I had the best times.
There you go. Perfect, man. Alex, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. Thank you for your time and for your stories. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me on.
Oh yeah, no worries, man. And I look forward to your future work. And and good luck with your auditions next week as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Fingers crossed. I'll try and enjoy them. I'll try and take my own advice.
No, you're gonna be great, man. But if you just hang on, I'll finish the recording. I'll say goodbye to you one-to-one. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the Uncensored Critic podcast, and I will be back very soon. And once again, Alex, thank you.
Thank you.